This season of the Good Up podcast is sponsored by Empath Psychological Services. Good Up is our space to talk about those experiences in life we didn't know we all had in common. We're the after work happy hour conversation with your best friend.
You good up vibe, like, hello.
The place where you bring up the hard parts of life, the ones that made you laugh, and the things that made you who you are. Because who said becoming good up wasn't a little bit uncomfortable? Stay tuned for more information about this week's episode.
Here at the Good Up Pod, we're all about shedding light on life experiences that have contributed to who we are and learning to navigate them to find a feeling that's, well, good up.
For some of us, that journey includes therapy. Empath Psychological Services operates with the belief that life's challenges are not all of who we are.
They aim to create a non-judgmental environment to help their clients harness their own power and to find their path to mental well-being. Good Up and Empath Psychological Services share a passion for helping others navigate their own healing their way.
If you're interested in teletherapy services in the U.S. Virgin Islands or the state of Texas, check out the link in the description box for more information on how you can book a session with Empath Psychological Services. Hey, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of the Good Up motherfucking podcast. I am that crop top Monet Haran in the Bad Gal Anthem video where like Hatitiram are hanging out. That's me.
Hey,
That's what
I am the baddest bitch in Hey Isa's house, Rue, because she's taking the cutest little nap.
She really is.
Oh, she's such a boo.
You can't even see it.
She's the cutest. I love her.
For those of you who are not patrons, there's a cat who just like laid the fuck out behind me because she run this house. She pays no rent. She pays no bills, but she run this house.
Is the sprinkle queen of this galaxy.
She really is. And I know you might be thinking, oh, it's you, because obviously like you are the apple of Steven's eye. No, I'm not, bitch.
No, it's the cat.
I'm his wife, but that's his woman, okay?
Yeah, she said I'm his wife, but that's his woman.
When we go to bed at night and I try to cuddle up with my man, guess who'll jump on the bed and lay down all on top of he and look at me like, bitch, get your dirty fucking paws off of my man. Yeah, it's Rue. So,
oh, I love that. I need to
today.
tell y'all, because Hey Isa thought she was going to wake that baby up and put her out of the room because she's like, oh, she's going to wake up.
She gonna wake up and start flipping shit.
And I was like, so? She's asleep. I was like, please leave that baby alone. Like, we're going to just have to interrupt the episode.
It's the fact that I had to excuse my cats for anything. I want to send my cats to live with you for 6 months and then let me know how you feel after. Let me know if your furniture survives. Let me know how you feel when 5 o'clock in the morning you're being woken up like, bitch, I don't know if you know, but it's a new day and I need to eat the Zoomies. 3 o'clock in the morning, you don't think somebody breaking into your fuck because these cats running around the house knocking shit over.
Oh my god,
running fast as fuck. They don't care. They don't care.
Oh my god.
But anyway, it's a new week. Last week was so exciting. Listen. I gonna be just excited about that episode until further notice. But yeah,
honestly, like I can't see a reason to not just hold on to the excitement. Like it's just It keeps me just going. Like yeah. I don't be doing chores and I just randomly get like flashbacks of that conversation we had with Monet, and I'm just like, bitch, yeah, we did that.
So
we had fun.
I had so much fun.
Same.
And I'm looking forward to more episodes. She knows she's welcome back anytime. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, Ayo, it's so funny, right? So everyone knows I'm a manager. I have a team of 3 people, and whenever we meet, we'd ask each other, how are you showing up today, right? And I love that question because it's kind of a preemptive, like, if I bitchy today, I'm gonna tell you like I'm in a fucking mood, okay?
Yeah.
So it allows us to kind of set the tone of the conversation so that we ain't all hype and loud and shit if somebody in the room just ain't in the mood. Today I am showing up a little bitchy and a little tired and a little anxious. There's a lot going on in here,
Yeah.
I have travel coming up, which me and DJ are about to talk about after we finish recording. Yeah. And y'all know from previous episodes, when it comes to travel, I don't do well with the planning and the getting there. Okay, so I try not get through this fucking week. So you all know that every week Deidre come with a good up astrology to tell her what the fuck you should and shouldn't be doing this week, and or just to give you guidance, because Deidre is not your mother, nor is she an astrology and instruction manual for your life. But you know, we like to make sure I get a good up guidance in all ways, shapes, and forms. So Deidre, tell the people them what the fuck the planet's doing and why.
Hey, okay. So looking at the planets right. First of all, for all my girlies that are going through the gigs, hug yourself, love yourself. I'm gonna just say it flat out, right? Obviously, it's Leo season. Happy birthday to my Leos. Okay. This chart that I'm looking at, though, is I'm sensing a lot of tension, but at the same time, I'm sensing a level of harmony, right? We love when the sun is in Leo. The sun is right at home in Leo. So a lot of people are feeling good, feeling confident. It's obviously depending on where Leo falls in your chart, that's going to look different. If Leo is, say, in your 4th house, right? You probably are feeling really confident in the home space. You probably just mastered some kind of like way to manage your home life, things such as that. So that's just like a little example. So because the sun is right at home, everybody is charged up. Obviously, the Leos are hella charged up, but everybody is charged up.
Fucking fool.
Yes, everybody is charged up in some fashion. The first thing I see on this chart is a lot of tension. And the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of planets opposing each other. And when I look at the planets, I try to imagine like a conversation. I see the planets as different people in a family at like a family gathering. And baby girl, the girlies are beefing a little bit. The sun and Pluto are like damn near directly opposing each other. So for some people, that could look like explosive arguments of some kind. It could look like somebody who recently had like a makeover of some kind, or who recently started feeling more confident about themselves, being called out by somebody who's not used to it. So you know how sometimes they say things like, oh, when you upgrade yourself, certain people can't come with you because they feel like you've changed.
Not in your Anne Hathaway moment.
Yes, for because you know I listen.
You know that bitch good for a makeover.
She's good for a makeover, but also thank you for bringing her up, because think about The Devil Wears Prada.
And Princess Diaries, her friend them was some fucking haters.
Remember how her friend went on? Remember how they treated her? They were happy to receive the free gifts she got from the magazine company, but they were judging her for losing her identity, when in reality she was evolving into another version of herself. What happened to the Andy?
I know she wasn't a bad bitch. That's what happened to the Andy.
Exactly. So some people are experiencing something like that, where a transformation that they've recently kind of embraced. It could even be somebody who's been on a fitness journey for a long time. Somebody close to them might somehow shame them for it. And that's just an example. It's not saying that specific, but it's that kind of vibe. Some people are going through that. That's not specific to Leos. It could be some people who are like Capricorns or have Capricorn, like significant Capricorn placements. But this could apply to anybody, but there are going to be people dealing with things like that. Another thing people are going to be dealing with is explosive emotions. So be very mindful of how things are impacting your, like the way you feel, especially because as I'm looking at this, the moon is currently in Libra. Be very mindful of how you handle your emotions. This is something I tell to Dylan all the time. You're entitled to your feelings, but you're not entitled to lash out at people because of your feelings.
Relax.
Yes.
Relax.
And even aside from relax, if somebody has offended you, or if you feel slighted, you have a right to express that, but you don't have to lash out at people by expressing that.
Yeah.
You know? So when you find yourself feeling hot up in your heart space, check in with yourself and say, okay, this is something that needs to be addressed. But Mercury and Venus are gonna support you in kind of managing your emotions and staying true to what you're passionate about without like exploding on people.
This is not the time to practice who gonna beat my ass.
This is not the time
not for a little while.
Yes, hold off on it.
Not hotting up your heart space.
Exactly, but be honest with yourself about what is hotting up your heart space. So when something hot up your heart space, then use that energy to kind of, why is this hotting up my heart space? What about it is hotting up my heart space? What do I need to say to this person so my heart space could cool down? How do I say this in a way where my message does not get lost in the delivery?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we still have Saturn retrograde in Pisces. If you're a patron, you saw that bonus episode I did a few weeks ago talking about Ocean Gate and all that jazz. We also have Neptune retrograde in Pisces. honestly, y'all, just be careful in the ocean, period. And that's aside from astrology. This is on some spiritual shit. Be careful in the ocean, in any like natural body of water. Respect the ocean, respect nature. Don't be fooling around in the water. Okay. I'm gonna leave it at that. If you guys want more information about this, if you guys want to understand how everything I just explained applies to you specifically, or if you're feeling everything I just described and you need guidance on how to navigate it and how to like strategize using this energy, book a reading with me. We can sit together. I will show you based on your natal chart where in your life this is being affected. You probably already know that, but I can also tell you how to navigate it and at least give you a timeline on when it's going to cool down based on your chart and how the planets are currently moving. I love you guys. Thank you for your time.
Yes. All right, y'all. So this week we are going to be talking about a topic that is near and dear to both me and Deidre hot space. So if the hot space them get a little hot up, but by just, us remembering how people had us fucked up, don't just ease up on we, okay? Let we have this. Love we, okay? That's who the set up for. Love me, okay?
Love me.
This week we are talking about breadcrumbing. If you've never heard of breadcrumbing, it is a way of leading someone on. So basically, the person communicates frequently enough to keep the other person interested, aka leaving breadcrumbs.
Exactly.
But not enough to form an actual bond. So you can be breadcrumbed either by someone who you're not in a relationship with or by someone who you are in a relationship with. You can be breadcrumbed by a family member. It's basically just someone giving you just enough to make you feel like you are wanted, that you have their attention, but then not really giving you the exact thing that it is that you want or need from them.
And not to cut you off, but another place where people get breadcrumbs a lot is the workplace. Somebody who's
can do that.
Bosses can breadcrumb you. If you're an ambitious person and you kind of have been stuck in the same role for a while, and anytime you finally work up the nerve to bring it up, you might be being breadcrumbed where your leader will give you just enough to make you feel like there's something to look forward to, but it's just to kind of get you to shut up. You know what I mean? I'm sorry to.
No, honestly, it's almost like when a kid keep begging you to eat and dinner ain't coming until 6, or if you are fucked up and you don't actually plan on feeding them. So you're just like, here, man, you get my snacks, so they just shut the fuck up and leave you alone. It's the same concept. So some examples of breadcrumbing can be texting, emailing, or DMing every so often, but not responding to request to spend more time together. Commenting on your social media posts, but not really engaging in direct communication. Being attentive and flirty in person, but not making a move to hang out again. Sending memes or like just small forms of communication, but like no deeper conversations. Texting frequently, but not getting to know each other, which...
That's such a giant waste of time to me. Like, why do people do that?
I mean, sometimes...
I'm like, y'all don't got nothing to do?
Listen,
that's so weird to me.
Don't be judgy, Kai, about to speak my truth, and you're going to be drugging me.
Right.
Making ambiguous plans with you that never seem to pan out. One day they seem totally into you, the next day you can't find them. Only interested in sex, and when you question the relationship, they make you feel guilty or responsible for any problems. Inconsistent communication, or coming up with excuses for why, like coming up with excuses for like their lengthy periods of being gone or being distant, and then like making up with you again just enough to like make you happy and making you feel like they missed you. But
I'm not triggered at all.
Not really. Listen, that's why we're like, Deidre don't be talking about them people, because
all of us have been breadcrumbed in some fashion. Listen, I'm not afraid to say that some of those things are things that I've experienced, specifically with like romantic partners. So I get it.
I think as a fat woman, I think fat women know breadcrumbing intimately, because let me specify. I don't know what dating is like for fat women right now. I'm assuming we have the same problems because people ain't really changed that much.
Yeah.
But fat women growing up in like the early 2000s and trying to like date in high school and like college during that time where men were into fat women.
But they were ashamed of it.
They were attracted to us sexually and emotionally, but they were not willing to publicly admit that. Right. So there was a lot of like I want to show you that I am interested in you and that I am attracted to you in private, but when we in public, you're not going to see that, or like I'm going to distance myself for a while and then come back. So it's something I know very.
I hate to be like shallow and like unaware of things, but I first learned that was a thing on The Game. There was an episode of The Game that spoke to that, because there was this woman. You ever seen the movie? Oh God, what was it called? Is it Fat Girls? The one with Monique?
I can't fucking stand that movie, but yeah, go ahead.
So the woman who played her best friend, the really pretty caramel complected friend, she guest starred in an episode of The Game, and we were like teenagers when The Game came out. So that's when I learned that was an experience that y'all were having, is because she guest starred in The Game and she was like a news commentator, and her and Malik were in like a full-blown like situationship. Because he had like her ass bad. That was his boo.
But he wasn't willing for her to be like his public.
Yes, they would be in the hotel room, and when I tell you, he had like, he was so smitten with her. He had like her ass bad. Okay, he couldn't get enough of her. But once they were out of that hotel room, like, and it would be like whenever they were in the same city, they would link up. It wasn't like a thing like they were like a couple, but whenever they were like in the same city, they would link up. He could not get enough of her. And it wasn't even just on some sexual shit. You could tell he actually liked her as a person. You know what I mean? He was so nice to her and stuff when they were in private, but then in public, he kept it strictly professional. He never even, I don't even think he ever asked her out on like a proper date. And when she clocked it, she pretty much was like, nigga, bye.
Yeah.
I don't need your bullshit. And I don't know if she said breadcrumbs, but it was very much that, like, I don't need your breadcrumbs. Like,
yeah. So that was it. Like, I knew I wasn't crazy. Like, these guys were like on my phone and texting me like all up, just like you said, smitten. Okay, I was like the center of the fucking universe. But when it came to publicly acknowledging that we were dating, then it was crickets, right? And it would come with like that ghosting of like, I don't want you to think that I'm too into you, so I'm gonna disappear for a little while. I'm gonna pull back for a little bit, and then I'm gonna come back, and all of a sudden I'm in love with you again.
That's fucked up. I've had men who, even like my ex, I've talked about him on the show. My son's dad, he was very abusive in private. He never put his hands on me. So let me just start there. I want you guys to remember that abuse comes in many forms, right? You don't have to be beating
you've talked about
else.
it on the show.
I've talked about that. He was very good at treating me the way I deserve to be treated in front of others. When we had people visiting, when we were like out someplace, treating me the way he used to treat me when we first got together around others. But then in private, he was mean as fuck. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And see, I've had the literal opposite experience where like there was a guy, and we talked about it on the abuse episode, the guy who I said was emotionally abusive, where he would like roast me in front of other people, like insult me, treat me like shit. And then in private, he
all over
like,
you.
You're such a cool girl, Jay. Like I can't talk to nobody else like this. And I'm like, so why the fuck do you treat me like shit? Like, you can't separate it. And that's the frustrating part about breadcrumbing, because I'm gonna give some other examples of it. The really frustrating part about breadcrumbing is that you kind of hyper focus on the moments that's really good. You hyper focus on when they're treating you really, really well. It's almost as if those people who are breadcrumb, they'll figure out exactly what it is you seeking in this life and from people and in love. And they're like, okay, I ain't gonna give this to you every day. I'm gonna come back, bitch, and I'm gonna make you feel like the most loved person in the world, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is that you need to hear, and then I'm gonna disappear again.
But what I've found to be the best antidote for a breadcrumber, who's this? That's how you get rid of a breadcrumber. If you're not ready to let go of your toxic bae for whatever reason, if the dick too good or whatever, don't do this. If they are an actual breadcrumber, they're not gonna respond. They're never coming back, right? So you have to be prepared to never initiate contact with them again.
So the reality is that they get away with what they get away with because, like, we have to be honest with ourselves, right?
We hold space for them.
We hold space for them. We could talk about ain't shit man all day, but the reality is, and we talked about this in the last episode, many of us have taken men back, whether it's through relationships or through just simply texting, answering a text. We've taken people back who don't deserve to be taken back because of, we like the way they don't make us feel. We like the chase. We like the
dick was too
little
bomb.
high of the flirty conversation, or the dick was too bomb. Like, we have all these reasons, and then we'd be like, oh, I never talking to that man again. But you don't block he though.
You don't block him.
You don't block he. You ain't talking to he ever again, but he have access to you.
Exactly.
You ain't talking to he ever again, but when he hat up your social media post, he'll be like, you don't answer
get a
it.
little butterflies.
You don't reply to the comment,
what?
but you don't be giggling to yourself, bitch. You look dumb. Block the man.
Block him. And the thing is if you know you're not ready to block him, then I'm sorry, just be more honest with yourself. Because let me tell you something. I don't know if you saw the story that I posted the other day talking. You know the little boy with a fish that was like, I want to keep him.
But it's my fish.
It's my right. So for me, right, my last tawdry affair. Listen,
it's fucking tawdry.
Papa had me in a little bit of. It was a tawdry affair, honey. Papa had me in a. I mean, not literally, obviously, but he had me in a little bit of a chokehold, right? But rather than doing the whole I ain't never talking to he again, I decided I'm not reaching out. If he reaches out, I'm gonna respond because I know me and done with he. It just is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here in front and be like, I ain't talking to he no more. And he's not blocked. He ain't blocked on nothing. That's my nigga. Okay. I ain't done with he. When I done with he getting blocked. But at the very least, I'm not reaching out.
I can't even get your ass, Deidre, because I've been there, right? I've been there. Okay. It's funny. It's the same fucking. I could apply so many different scenarios to this one man.
I feel like he need a royalty check at this point.
He need a royalty check from the podcast because no, listen to me. Papa was one of the he was the defining relationship of my young adulthood. Like, yeah, and it was such an on again. Was he like your Mr. Toxic. Big? He is my. You know what's funny? We watched Sex and the City together, right? And I texted and I was like, "Guess who you be?"
But you know what though? Can I just say this? I'm so glad you chose your Aiden. Because
let's not cast even my Aiden because Carrie did not deserve that man. I deserve my man.
That's true. You definitely deserve your Aiden. You know what? So
he's my Smith. Smith Jared.
What's Smith Jared? Because I was gonna say what's Charlotte's husband's name? Yes, your Smith Jared.
Harry. He's my Smith Jared though. I'm more of a Smith Samantha. Jared. He took me out of my whorish ways, and I'm like, I could commit to you. The movies,
but you actually like it there because Samantha don't like it there.
The movies ain't canon. We don't count that.
Yeah, Samantha, that's true.
That relationship ended when the show ended, and that's it. But yeah. No, he definitely was on some Mr. Big shit. And again, I've described this relationship in a number of ways on the podcast, so I don't know. Let's just call him Mr. Big. Okay, we giving this man a nickname officially because he gonna come up again. He gonna come up again.
I don't think we're big enough to get a cease and desist from no. HBO. So we're good.
We can call him Mr. Big. So Mr. Big, he breadcrumbed the fuck out of me. Like he would dip, he would go no contact for a couple of months, and then he would pop back up and we would talk again. And it was almost like all I needed. I used to miss he so much. Oh my when gosh. He was gone, that all I needed was for he to come back and say anything, right? He could have said hi. I'd be like, oh my God, you're back. Yeah.
Like, and that's so what excited. Sucks because the reality is, and this is a harsh reality that we all have to face at some point, is this person is only coming back because they need an ego boost. Mm-hmm. Because if they were that into you or into me or whomever, they would remain in contact. You know what I mean? So they go off, they take interest in whatever they are interested in, and when that flops, then they come back looking for us, and it's like,
and it's so funny because I actually only heard of breadcrumbing for the first time, I think maybe earlier this year or last year. And it was so funny because the minute I heard about this girl explain it on TikTok, I went on my Instagram and my close friends and I went on a long ass rant, right? I don't know if you remember. I was like, y'all, I just realized what breadcrumbing is. And then it hit me that this person has been breadcrumbing me for a decade, like, which is insane. But he would do that. He would disappear. He would come back. Every time I was available to you, you would snatch your fucking breadcrumbs back and move on with your life and go date some other people and then come back to me when it was time to come back to me. Like, it was.
Can I tell you, and so this chaotic. Is not like, and it's not to be like, oh, this is a you thing, but this is usually the pattern with men like that, is you're a placeholder and they want to see who they can get. And if by chance they don't get who they're like, you said I fuck on my chest just went. I know, that's how come I say it's not so much a you thing. It's a thing that happens with that kind of relationship dynamic. So this I mean, obviously this is what you were going through, but this is a dynamic that just takes place. Yeah. Is you have this woman who you do like a lot, you love her, right? But there might be something that she doesn't have that somebody else, something that's missing, right? Off your dream list or whatever the fuck. So you're gonna go out, you're gonna have your good time. And this is what toxic people do. Okay. You're gonna go out, you're gonna have your fun, you're gonna look for more. And then if you don't find more, then she's still there. So that's who I'm gonna end up with. That's what happened with Carrie and Mr. Big. I know plenty of women that's happened with. That's a very common in what? Struggle love. And go listen to our struggle love episode if you don't really know what struggle love is. But that's a common dynamic in those like struggle relationships.
Breadcrumbing isn't just I gonna come back and show you a little bit of attention. Breadcrumbing is I am going to come back and do like it's the grand gesture, right? Which is
what
why
you've been
like
asking for, but
which
only
is
this
why Mr. Big is such a good example, because he would come back and like make it seem to Carrie like he was giving it all up for her, like this was it, she's the one, like that it's all for you, right? And then something would come up and he would leave her again, right?
Well,
and he was also willing.
He flew to Paris because she had a new man.
Willing to destroy her new relationships for the sake of having her, right? Because it wasn't just enough to like, oh, you know, obviously we're not working out, I gonna move on. It was like if Carrie was in a new relationship, Big was somewhere in the picture. Like it's like that. So it's not just that they'll come back and again shoot you a little text and like that's enough to get you back. It's usually like they'll explain the reason they've been gone and why it was everything else in the world keeping me away from you. It wasn't you. It was never you. You're never the problem. And it's for some people, when it comes to breadcrumbing, the person who's breadcrumbing you is often telling you that you are like different from everybody else. You are the most important thing in their life. They love you in a different way, and like that's why they can't stay away from you, right? But the reality is like it's almost the opposite. You're not the most important thing in their life. You're probably the least important, but the most convenient, which is why they keep coming back. So aside from just because I think a part of it too, when we're talking about breadcrumbing, we almost villainizing these people, right? And that's not to say they're not the villains, because sorry, Mr. Big.
Listen, shout out to the Peloton. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're the villain. Bitch. I think in that case, Mr. Big is the villain, but breadcrumbers are not always the villain. So there are reasons why they breadcrumb. Sometimes it's their own low self-esteem. Sometimes somebody, you know, feels like they need to keep you coming back, but they don't actually feel worthy of like having you.
That's true.
Another part of it could be insecure attachment styles. So basically, oh my God,
I was literally gonna say it could be their attachment style.
They feel vulnerable by giving you that intimacy. And then the other thing is emotional unavailability due to a mental health condition. So it could just be general emotional unavailability, or it could just be like they actually have shit going on with their mental health.
Another thing to that is a lot of times people are struggling mentally, and the only way they know how to cope is by bonding with
finding
others.
Our body.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, I don't know that I guess it is breadcrumbing. I don't know. I am definitely that person who, you know, in my loneliness, especially when I was like single, I would try to like attach myself to something, right? Like go text somebody just to flirt with them. Like I just get what I wanted, but then like the conversation would die and I would just move on with my life. Like I think I definitely have like breadcrumb people in the past, but I haven't done it so extensively to where I felt like, oh, this person has feelings for me. It's just like, oh, this person liked me and is interested in me and like would fuck me if I gave them the chance, but never gonna happen. I just want you to tell me my banner look nice and I'm gonna move on with my life.
You know what? I don't think that I've done that to that extent. However, I do know that I spent a lot of time healing my attachment style, because I did used to have an insecure attachment style. I used to be I used to have a dismissive, avoidant attachment style.
I don't know what my attachment style is. You know, I need to look that up. You know what I will say on what keeps coming up as we talk about this, like, and I'm about to drag my father. I think my father was the first person to breadcrumb me, to be honest.
Yeah, he most likely was, and that's why you tolerated from men.
Yeah,
my daddy was,
and yeah, because they do this thing where it's like, when I see you, you're my child, right? I love you. I gonna give you the wall. Let we go. Let we do all this fun shit. Like when I would see my father, I would have the time of my fucking life. But then my father would disappear. Yeah. And like, not to say disappear, like I can't find him. It's just he would be very distant. He would kind of go about his own life. He would do inactive, do his own thing. And then he would come back. it's funny too, because sometimes he would like blame me. He would be like, oh, I didn't hear from you. How come you didn't hear from me? Like fathers love to do that shit.
Oh,
And
they
be
love
like,
to do that.
The phone is a two-way conversation. And it's like last time
and you're an adult who
one of
made
us
me,
is a
so
child. Like one of us is a child. One of us is a child. Okay.
Yeah.
So he would do that shit, but like that's that same pattern, right? That same I'm gonna show up, you gonna be the center of my universe, and then I gonna dip. And then you gonna wonder like, what did I do? Like, and you if this is your father, right? Like I was a daddy's girl too. So it's like this, you are literally the center of my universe. So anytime you come back, I ain't gonna be mad at you. Also, because you're my parent, I can't be mad at you, right? Like, do I even have a right to be upset? So that same pattern kind of took me into, again, those relationships where it's like, well, like, do I have a right to be mad at you? Because like, I like you so much and like, you like me. And like, maybe you had a good reason for being gone. Like, just the way you to try to justify that shit in your head, and like
it's wild.
Yeah.
And the thing is it's what you know, and it's what your childhood self did to survive what you were going through at the time. So now that you're grown, you have to learn you have to unlearn those things. Yeah. And you have to overcome those things, because I had to recognize where my parents contributed to my toxic choices and partners as well. A big part of why I used to tolerate so much fuck shit from Dylan's dad is because that's what I grew up with. I grew up with a mom who used to berate me. So it was just normal to be berated by somebody you loved. It was just something I kind of accepted. It took me time to realize like, wait, I shouldn't be dealing with this. Same thing with my choice in unavailable men. My daddy, my biological dad. Okay, let me be more specific. My biological dad was very unavailable. And just like you, when he would pop in, which was very rare, it was amazing. You know, and I felt like the most special girl. So I ended up choosing men who, you know, were the same. And then I had to recognize like, nah.
I think that's an important thing that we have to talk about. I have it planned for a different episode, but like emotional unavailability is a bitch, right? And it affects people in so many ways, but like it ties into so many things. Like when we ask like, oh, well, why do you keep letting people come back? And like, why do you let this person treat you like this? And it's like, sometimes when you are raised by a person who like, they'll give you literal crumbs, crumbs.
That's all you know.
That's all you know. So if a person try and hand you a slice of bread, you'll be like, oh shit, bitch, it's a slice of bread.
Yeah, exactly. And then it might be too much bread. It might be like, oh, I can't stomach this much bread. You know what I mean? Or the texture is just not what I'm used to. Like, I'm used to the crunchy.
Is that bread? Get a fuck away from me. A lot of my life was that too. And it's so funny to think about, Deidre. Like, one side of my life, which was this relationship with Mr. Big, nobody knows about really. Like, I've talked about it at length on the podcast. I've spoken about it to specific friends. But like, I went through this decade-long shit with his pausing, and nobody knew about it again because we never got to that point of being in a relationship.
Damn, yeah.
So there was that side, and then there was the other side of like people actually liking me and me being like, get your dusty hands off of me,
you know why? Because so much of your energy was allocated to Mr. Big. Yeah. And that's the other thing is, you know what? I want to share a resource with you guys. Anytime we do topics like this, I'm going to try my best to share some sort of a helpful resource, especially one that's like free or of what's the word I'm looking for? Affordable. There's this lady on YouTube. She randomly came up on my YouTube feed maybe like a year or two ago. When I tell you it was so random, but shout out to the algorithm because I learned a lot from her. She calls herself the crappy childhood fairy, but she makes a lot of content for people who have CPTSD, which is complex PTSD, who, especially people who are struggling in relationships or who end up choosing the wrong types of partners as a result of their crappy childhood, right? Parents who used to breadcrumb them, or abusive parents, or emotionally unavailable parents. She helps people understand the roots of that, help people like to kind of go within and understand where that came from, and then overcome it so they can choose better partners for themselves, so that they realize how fucking good bread is and that breadcrumbs ain't nothing. Okay. She's amazing. So
the amount of fucking butter bread in this house right now, and I love butter bread right out the oven. You get it first thing in the morning. Anyway,
you know what's so funny? Because I remember one time I was going off on somebody who was playing in my face, and I literally was like, "Listen, I need you to understand that you over here trying to sprinkle breadcrumbs, and what I require is the keys to the bakery. Like, I like my options. Like, I love, and that's the me and Diamond were just talking about that today. I fucking, like, in real like life, I love bread. But when one thing about me, when I vex with you, honey, it's gonna be analogies, double entendre. Okay, it's gonna be a lot.
So I'm coming with bars.
I'm coming with bars. I am like a rapper when I'm mad. Okay, so I very much was like, you trying to breadcrumb me, and what I require from any man who gonna presents is the keys to the bakery. Okay, so get it together. Okay, you can go over there, get that shit to her. She looks like she's on a diet anyway. You know, it was a lot of that. But you know, eventually
I definitely, the other part of it too is that I've never discussed this relationship in therapy. It's never come up. And
do you think you need to though? At this point?
I think I need to, because it's come up in like,
I mean, it comes up a lot
this season. It does come up a lot, but I think it comes up a lot because
of what we're talking about.
But also when I was in it, I never really analyzed it. I never acknowledged how bad it was. It was one of those things where like I refused to accept how poorly I was being treated until it was done. And getting older and shit like that, shit starting to click. So it's like, yes, this was a decade, but it's it being over now, me getting into my 30s and shit, where like I'll be fucking washing dishes and I'm just like
suddenly triggered.
Like,
no, but that's, you know what, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a part of healing that people don't always talk about, or that people forget to mention.
Because you don't think when you're done, you don't just move on and everything over. But no, like, I'm still mad. I'm still mad.
You're gonna still be mad for a while. And sometimes what happens is when you're at a point where your standards have risen significantly, you'll randomly have a flashback or something, and it would be the dumbest thing, would trigger you, or would trigger a memory, and then you're angry because you're like, I can't believe there was a time I put up with that bullshit, right?
The other so part what happens is that people think because I'm married that I have to have been like emotionally just like separated from everything that I've gone through relationship wise, and that if I talk about those relationships that I'm not over them. And I feel like there's a way to be over a person but not over what they did to you, what they did to you feel, right?
And the thing is when you have those memories and stuff, what you end up discovering is that who you're really mad at is yourself for allowing yourself to be treated like that. So then what you have to do is, I forgive you, D, or I forgive you, hey, Isa. Like, I get it. Like, you didn't know better then, you know better now. You got a whole fucking cupboard full of butter bread. It's okay.
Freshly baked.
You did the best you could with what you had. Because I've had times where I would have like flashbacks of arguments me and Dylan's dad would have and things like that. And I would just be so like, there have been nights where I would be like wrapping up a night at work, and something as simple as watching like my younger peers, like the kids who I'm leading, just enjoy their life and like have a Friday night. And I remember one night I cried myself all the way home in my Uber because I'm like, yo, so much of my youth is gone because I was with somebody I shouldn't have been with. And then I had to just be like, okay, Deidre, like, you can't get it back. Crying ain't gonna bring it back. Like, feel these feelings, but it's okay. At least now you're, because would you rather, like, you lost that little bit of youth, but you still have your whole life ahead of you, and it doesn't involve abuse. So that's I
feel like there's things that I lost, but like I said, I'm there's moments that'll come up where like I'm still very much angry, and I think, you know how people have said like, oh, you won't always get to get closure. You won't always get to like speak your piece. You won't always get like, you don't always get the final conversation, right? And one thing about me, I am a dramatic ass bitch. Like, I don't want the full blown, like, I want the blow up, because sometimes the blow up to make me feel better about everything ending, or the final conversation to make me feel better. And like, I didn't get that in this situation, right? It was just, it was over when it was over. There have been times where like I driving in my car.
You don't cuss when you driving?
I don't cuss this man stink. Mind you, again,
that's a good coping tool.
I don't just, and it's not just him. I don't cuss I don't cuss, you know, people in the past who've like brought like physically harmed shit like that. Like, I don't just go off, right? And it's helpful because obviously he ain't gonna ever hear it, but like at least I got to say it, right? Sometimes it'll be like, I'll write a letter of like, this was so fucked up. Like, I can't believe you do this shit to me. And like you said, sometimes you don't have to have that conversation with yourself of like, why did I accept that bullshit for so?
Because it's all you know. Like, when you know better, you do better. You didn't know any better at the time. So that's why I said there also has to be a level of forgiveness for yourself. Because why the fuck did I accept that? That's all I knew. I know better now. I'm never going to accept no bullshit like that again. You know, I guess the plus side to, you know, having had a child with the person that played in my face for so many years is, you know, there's going to be points where we still have access to each other. I have gotten I have cussed that man like a dog. Like I have, so that has been very healing and helpful. When I tell you, oh my God, the estrangement that we're finally like past, right? We're at a point now where we're able to have a conversation when it comes to Dylan. I'm able to reach out to him and say, hey, this is going on with Dylan, whatever the case may be. He's able to reach out to me and ask questions and know that he's going to get a clear answer, right? But there was a solid like year and a half, maybe 2 years, maybe I think it was like a year and a half, where we were fully estranged. I cussed that man. I read that man. I wouldn't stop. When I tell you, it was... I was tearing into that man. It was like non-stop. And it took him a while. And I think he's still not over it, to be honest. But we're actually like cordial now, you know? Yeah. But baby.
Yeah.
So cuss that man. Cuss he all the time.
Listen, I'd cuss he in private and then I'll move on with my life. But it's like, you know, I think for anybody listening, the moral of the story is if I could have given myself advice 10 years ago or like whenever that shit started, I would have been like, hey, Isa, go ask that man what is the barrier? What is the thing that is keeping this relationship from happening? If you love me so bad, if I'm so different, if I'm this special person in your life, what is the problem? And if it's distance, fix it. Can you fix it? Can we do long distance since it's so important to you? Like just keep asking questions. You're not asking enough questions.
Set a standard.
And if it's excuse after excuse after excuse, okay, well, let's put this down because obviously it's not working. So I should be free to go date people who are available to me. You go date people who are available to you. And if it comes together and it works, it works. If not, I'm not staying here and waiting for you. I just think that if you are being breadcrumbed by a person, like you need to just be straight, like be honest with yourself and with them about what the situation is. If you happy with that scenario, if you could honestly say like, you know, this suits me, I'm fine with this. Cool. Right. Whatever floats your Disney Cruise Line, bitch. But if you're not,
you know what I think? I think that comes with a certain level of maturity, because I think at that point it's not necessarily breadcrumbing. It's just you and this person have an understanding, which to me, that's very rare. And that comes with a certain level of maturity. Yeah. But if you still working through your stuff, right?
Like if you know that you are in pain, you're uncomfortable with the situation.
You know what?
You're longing for more. Yeah. And you know that person could give it to you, but is choosing not to, or for whatever reason.
That's a good key right there. If they could give it to you, but they're choosing not to. Because in some cases they can't, right?
And but also if they can't, why are they here?
But you know what? I think that right there goes down to what you want in the situation, if that makes sense. Because for some people, it's going to be like very Samantha, where it's like, I want this.
If I want dick and you giving me dick, cool.
That's if it's a specific thing, but there's that understanding and you're being honest with yourself. If it's a situation where you're saying you just want dick, but you know you want more, so you're taking whatever you can get, baby girl, don't do that.
Stand up.
Don't stand up. And you know what's funny?
You get them little dot pebbles, them little annoying little fuck that'll hurt your knee bad, and it'll leave the little holes, the impressions. You get that shit on your knee.
Yeah, your knees are bleeding, babe. And I'm gonna tell you this right now, baby. If there's a man in your life that you're interested in and you have that philosophy of, I want more, but all he's offering me is sex, so I'll take whatever I can get, it's a huge turnoff. That's why he don't like you. I mean, there's probably another reason why he don't like you. But if you're really settling for whatever you can get because you want more and that person's not available to give you more, I'm telling you, as the person who has heard those words leave a man's lips, it is very unattractive. If you're involved with somebody and you want more than they can give you, but they're only giving you this one thing, and you're willing to accept just that one thing when what you need is 5, then what that means is you need to raise your standards, period. once you raise your standards, you're going to be saying the shit me and hey, I just saying is like, why the fuck did I accept that shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the reality is, and I know it's harsh to hear those words that it's unattractive, but that's the reality. Because guess what? Even as toxic as that person may be, their standards are a little bit higher than yours because they're not with somebody who is not everything they want. Sorry, and I know it's coming off as harsh, but sometimes we need to kind of really rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
That person is, and even their excuse might be that they're struggling with their mental health, whatever the excuse might be, right? Because if the mental health
and get on my fucking phone.
Exactly, right? But there is a difference in those standards, right? Because that person is still not staying with somebody that they're not fully interested in. So you need to do that for yourself. You deserve the best, okay? You like fuck bread. First of all, breadcrumbs ain't satisfying. Listen, if you read the nutrition label, breadcrumbs ain't even a fraction of the serving size, okay? If I gotta put it like that, breadcrumbs ain't even a fraction of the serving size. Go get the full slice. At the very least, get a slice of bread. Yeah. If you don't want the keys to the bakery like me, because I recognize that I'm very extravagant and decadent, and I want the most, right?
You want to feel a fucking wheat. Start.
Yeah, I want to witness you needing that motherfucker.
Go harvest that fuck yourself.
Yes, I want to. All of it. I require it. You're gonna go mill the wheat and all that shit. I'm going to watch you, knead this dough. I want to come back and check on the bread as it's proofing. I want to smell it in the oven baking. And I want
that fuck with you.
I'm not baking it with you. Go bake that fucking bread and bring it to me. No, and I'm gonna come check on it. I'm gonna come.
This is me. I go insult the married woman in here. Sometimes there's nothing more fucking beautiful, right? If we're using bread as an analogy, than baking the bread with them, right? Because once you get to that point in marriage, it stops being about what you offering me and why I offering you and and it starts being about what is this life that we are building together and what are you contributing and what am I contributing and what is this beautiful thing that we can create from it, right? And I cannot tell you how fucking amazing it is when you both contribute to your relationship and that love and like you're both putting in that work and you just see this like, I don't know how to explain it. There's a point in our like very healthy relationship where you to just look at each other like, wow, we're happy. Like, and I fuck the just, it's like,
you know what I'm realizing?
It's such a high. You probably are jaded because you watching me like I crazy.
It's not even that I'm jaded. I think what it is I just and this is something I've been coming to terms with.
You were ready to get me the fuck out of here, but I so like, serious. I saw that I serious.
So you know what here's the thing. The thing that I've recognized and I've had to come to terms with is that I am genuinely just not emotionally invested in those types of partnerships. There was a time where I was, and I learned in that time, like, oh, this ain't for me. Like, I like what's the word? I like relationships in doses. I love my space. Not so much I need a separate bedroom. That's your house. This is my house. Let's go have fun. Let's go on this date. I'll come to your place. You could come to my place. But that's your life over there. And this is my life over here.
And that's fair.
You know what I've recognized? And this is what it is. Because I love romantic relationships. I just don't like doing life with a romantic partner. And that is so weird. And a lot of people can't grasp that. In their mind is, if you're committed to somebody, you're doing life with them. I don't want to do life with you. I want to do our romantic relationship together.
But
and I want
your own.
But have my life. And I want us to update each other. Because that's the thing. I be wanting to hear about your life, right? When I'm with my motherfucking niggas, right? I be wanting to hear about their life. How's this? How's this person?
But
How's
you want us to get in the Uber and go home.
However you going home, go home.
And listen to it. Like I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think if that's your preference, that's cool. I will say I struggled a bit coming into the type of partnership that I am in now.
Yeah.
Because I'm still very much like that in a way, right? Where like, I want my own shit. I want my own life. I want my own friend groups. I want to do my own thing. Like, I had a hard time at first when we were living together and then we eventually did get married of like, no, this thing is mine. Like, I don't just go over there. I don't know. Yes. Especially sharing a room. Oh my God. Sharing a fucking room and a bed. Listen, which is why I have my beautiful comfy bed behind me, because sometimes I need to sleep by myself. But I will say that there is a part, which is what I was talking about earlier. There is a part that I do really like, which is I do like the idea of creating this life with you. Like I have my life and you have your life, but there's also a life that we have together and that we're creating together. And it's beautiful. So if the listener, if that's you, if you's a pause, if you want to make your loaf of bread and your partner make his bread and you come together and be like, oh, that's the bread.
Here's the thing, right? Because I wanted to bring it back to the bread, right? You go bake the bread. I will make the jams. I will churn some butter in my kitchen. I will pull out my mixer and I will make butter. I will make a charcuterie board to share with this bread. But at some point, I'm going to lock the bakery up. I'm going to take listen, it's going to be a potluck. I'm coming to the bakery. Where's the bread? I brought all these jams. I brought all these things to go with the bread. Thank you for my to-go serving. I will leave all this charcuterie stuff here. You could give me back my cutting boards the next time we see each other. I'm going home.
Thomas Bakery and tell them to sponsor the Good Up podcast.
Honestly, Thomas Bakery sponsored the podcast because I love the breadcrumbing analogy, but yeah, I don't want breadcrumbs. I want like keys to the bakery and I want you to make the bread and I'm going to come enjoy this bread and I'm going to bring stuff to go on the bread. I'm not coming with my hand them swinging. I will make jams. I will bring the finest cuts of meat. I will bring things to make sandwiches. Okay. And I'm going to leave my things there and I'm going to take my bread and I'm going to go home
bakery up.
and I'm going to lock the bakery up and say, see you next time. Hit me up after you milled some more wheat. But I don't want to be kneading dough with you and all that. No, I don't want to do all. You know why? I think because I think you and Steven have a unique situation because you guys started out young and then you disbanded for a little bit. You had your chance to gain your independence. I went
and I closed my bakery.
Yeah. And then you came back together. So you like building this life with him. For me, I started out very young thinking I was going to build a life with somebody. It didn't quite work out. Yeah. And because I've spent so much time alone, the thought of trying to integrate somebody into the life I've already created, it's like, it's going to take a lot for me to want to integrate somebody into this. And I don't know that I would want to integrate into somebody else's thing. And if I do, honey, he probably do OBA or something. I don't know. But how about you have a great life that you've built that you love and I have mine. And then we come together, right? And enjoy our romantic relationship. And we don't have too many responsibilities for a partnership. I don't know how because people hear that and then they get all offended and triggered and they're like, oh, you don't like commitment. It's not that I don't like commitment. I'm very committed to the life I currently have.
And that's the thing.
You know what I mean?
we also got put out on an episode list too, is that people hear non-monogamy or polyamory or just like non-traditional relationships, right? And the first thing they'll think is like, you're not committed to this, right? Even something as simple as me having my own bedroom where like I sleep separately from my husband sometimes. Yeah. You don't see the clock sticking of like, you're a whore. You don't want to be with your husband. Like people will freak the fuck out. And I'll be like, dog, he's across the hallway. Like, but it's because they have their own insecurity about like, if I don't have possession of you, what does that mean? And taking us back to fucking breadcrumbing is, I don't want you. I don't actually want this relationship. But if I don't have possession of you, if I don't come back and put my stake back in this, then what does that mean for me?
Then
like,
what
I
does
don't
that
get
mean
this thing
for
that
me?
I want.
Exactly. Because this person is serving a part of my ego that, you know, it's, baby, this was a good episode, honey. This is probably...
and we gotta wrap it up because we gotta make plans.
I don't know if it's top 3, but it's definitely top 5.
It's up there. And all I gotta say is, look, Mr. Big, even though it'll cost you in my car every day, I do hope that wherever it is that whatever it is you needed to figure out for yourself mentally that caused you to cause me so much pain, I hope you figure that fuck out. Do I wish you well? Probably not. You had enough well in your life, okay? At my expense. So go to therapy and don't be a mother's gun. Thanks. Bye.
Girl, I love that.
All right, for the girls though, we love how you're bad. Don't let nobody breadcrumb you. You deserve the whole bakery, not just any regular schmegular bakery. Okay, one of the legendary ones, one of the ones that have been around for a while.
One. Okay, yeah, you deserve a bakery that bakes multiple types of bread, right? From different regions. Like
you deserve
you're getting
jams.
French bread. You're getting Italian bread. You're getting bagels. You're getting
your jellies,
whatever kind of bread you want.
Your fruits,
whatever bread
your
you
charcuterie
want.
boards. You deserve it all. Okay,
all of it.
Don't accept less than what you fucking deserve. And if you are accepting less, ask yourself, am I a fucking subpar bitch? No, you're not. Stand the fuck up, dust off your ashy ass knees.
Your blistered ass knees.
And don't piss me the fuck off. Anyway.
We love y'all. Sorry for the tough love, but sometimes, dude, there's this lady on TikTok. If he don't call you, he's not interested. I'm gonna look for her. She's like such an auntie, but I just love her.
It's the truth. Listen, I done tell my niece already, because my niece is in high school, and I'm like, I'm so proud of the young girl woman that she is, because my niece is not here for these. Okay, she don't. Period. She's dudes will tell she that she pretty, and she'll be like, okay.
You're gonna have to do more than that. I already know.
And it's not to say she don't know how to take compliments, because she does take compliments. She's a very well-mannered girl, but when it comes to man trying to gash, or little boys trying to gash you up, she'll be like, okay, that's cute,
boy, you have to come correct.
Exactly. I
love that for her.
But yeah, Good Up listeners, you know where you go find us. I actually want to hear your breadcrumbing stories. DM me. I love when I attack your business in my DMs and I don't ask you to. So this time I'm asking you to. If you've been breadcrumbed, okay? If you had a gingerbread man morascunt in your life, that's gonna be the fucking episode title. Watch. If you had a gingerbread man chasing your ass down, you
hate you so much. I literally hate you.
Or woman, it could be a gingerbread woman too. Cause a man will get breadcrumb too.
I was about to say we'd be a little bit toxic. I'm not gonna act like I ain't never breadcrumb nobody before. But see me, I don't breadcrumb. I don't cut up chunks of bread and leave it. I don't be.
Me gonna give you crumbs. I gonna give you a little sliver. You know the little nut that it'll put on top of the
exactly
the butter bread.
The butter bread. Yeah.
Everybody love the little nut.
You get an end bread from me. You ain't just getting bread. You get a slice of end bread. Okay.
So yeah, if you've been breadcrumbed, I want you to come tell me your business. DM at Good Up Pod, either on Facebook, on Instagram, or on Twitter. Private message us. We don't tell our business. We don't read names. Okay, just DM me and tell me by the time a morascunt play in your face, unless the morascunt was me. If so, it's too fucking late, bitch. I don't want to hear it.
And you probably deserved it.
Yeah.
We did that Twitter space thing. That was very interesting.
Shout out to the Twitter space. Shout out to the Twitter space. Listen, okay, let me say something. The Twitter space that I am usually in is that kind of chaos, right? Every week, damn near every day that'll be in a Twitter space, right? But I love these people, but because they love me and they love Good Up, okay?
You know, because I was gonna ask, and the reason why I brought that up.
Also, my name is Plaza Cakes on Twitter until further notice. I don't know if you noticed that my name been Plaza Cakes since
I don't be on Twitter. That night that I logged on for that Twitter space was my first time logging on to Twitter in months.
We appreciate you making an appearance, because I was not expecting you to hit the Twitter streets. And when you come in, I was like, oh fuck, hold on, please pause. Did you try to hear?
It was fun though. It was fun.
I love them.
I liked it.
Thank you to
everybody. Thank you to everybody who requested that space. Thank you to Hey Isa for hosting it. And thank you to all of y'all who support this podcast. Like honestly, this podcast is literally nothing without y'all. So we fucks with y'all heavy.
Shout out to our Good Up patrons for keeping the lights on. You could join our Good Up Patreon group, get bonus content and exclusive access to all of our video episodes at patreon.com/gooduppodcast. Lowest tier is $1 a month. We love our Patreons bad, okay? And then shout out to our audience. Y'all know, continue the conversation. Use a hashtag Good Up Tuesday or at Good Up Pod. Make sure you DM me your breadcrumbing stories, okay? Because I love our business. Love our business more than mine. And with that being said, we're gonna see you right back here next Tuesday on the Good Up podcast. We at the halfway point of the season, pretty much. So streets is lit, and yeah. Bye. I'm just playing.
I'm like, you have to tell me. I'm not going to say it if you don't tell me. Bye.
This season of the Good Up Podcast is sponsored by Empath Psychological Services. The Good Up Podcast is Black woman hosted and produced by Deidre Ritter and Heiza Quinones Ivory. Find us on all social media platforms at Good Up Pod. Tag us using the hashtag Good Up Tuesday and join the VIP section over on Patreon for exclusive bonus content at patreon.com/gooduppodcast.